cheating before your wedding anniversary." Whoa, that's all I heard. You know, the way adults talk in Charlie Brown movies. Yeah, my hearing blacked out 5 minutes ago. Now the sounds I was hearing began to be drowned out by the roaring as the blood rushed to my ears in intense anger. I felt my knuckles turn white as I began to clench my fists resting on the table. Looking at my wife's face, I could see her lips moving as she tried to explain what she had just told me. But I wasn't listening to her anymore. 15 minutes early, I had just walked through the door after coming home from work on Friday night. I was looking forward to having a beer and settling down so I could start enjoying the weekend with my wife. Well, you know what they say about best laid plans. I did get a beer. My wife put it on the kitchen table when I walked in the door. As for the rest of my plan, there wasn't much. Then there were 5 words. "Honey, we need to talk." Okay, before I get to the meat of this story, I should probably tell you a little bit about myself and my wife. My name is Robert Bader. I'm 28 years old. I have a good job at an IT consulting firm. I have a master's degree in computer science. I am 5 feet 11 inches tall, weigh about 205 pounds, have brown hair and eyes, and I keep in shape with daily visits to the gym and a 5-mile morning jog. I've been told I have a beautiful face. My wife's name is Idella, but she is usually called Ida. She is 2 years younger than me, 5 feet 5 inches tall, pudgy but fit. She goes to the gym about 3 times a week. She has blonde hair just below her shoulders, blue eyes, trim legs, and an ass to die for, a slim waist, and 34D breasts. Yes, her face is very pretty too. We met at a party in college. Her name at the time was Idella Masters. She was getting her bachelor's degree in accounting while I had already been in graduate school for a year. We hit it off from the beginning and dated through college. We got married about a year after graduation. I should mention that she sometimes forgot to fully consider all the ramifications of some of her decisions. This was especially true if there was something she really believed in and wanted. A telling example, there was something of the feminist in her, so she didn't want to just blindly take my name when we got married. She insisted that she wanted to spell one of those ridiculous last names with a hyphen, you know, where it's her maiden name and then a hyphen in front of her husband's last name. Something like Scott Pruitt or Rodham Clinton. You get the idea. Whenever I tried to discuss it with her and tell her what a supremely bad idea it was, she got defensive and accused me of misogyny and trying to take away her identity. She brought up other women who had done this and were very successful. She talked about several of her friends who had done it without any problems. She ranted relentlessly about how patriarchy forces women to take their husbands' last names in order to subjugate women. I tried to explain that that was not the point here. I had no intention of trying to subjugate her. In the end, I just sat her down, wrote the last name with a hyphen, and made her read it 5 times. Then, if she still wanted to use that name, I would no longer object. Ida Masters Bader. The idea was suddenly discarded, and she changed her maiden name to my last name. I told you she was a natural blonde, didn't I? So we've been married almost 5 years. We haven't had kids yet, but we've started working on it. We talked about getting her pregnant on our 5th anniversary, which was a little over 2 months away. She has a problem with the pill, so we always used protection when we had sex. Our plan was that, on the night of our 5th anniversary, we would go without protection for the first time. It would be a special night for us. So, that brings us back to the beginning of this sad story. With a beer in my hand sitting at the table across from my wife, I heard 5 scary words and my rage was building. I just want to try something a little different for a month or so before we have kids. I need to get rid of all this stuff before I settle down and become a mother. Ida tried to explain. So let's see if I got this right. You want to date other guys while you're married to me? You want to have fun and make love to other guys, completely breaking your vows to leave everyone else behind? And you want me to be okay with that? Are you out of your mind? I almost shouted the last phrase. Look, It's only for a month or so. I need to sow the last of the oats, and then we can have our special 5th anniversary party like we planned. Once this little flare-up is over, I can settle down and be a loving, faithful wife for the rest of my life. Not just a no, but a definite no. Robert, I've already made my decision. This is what I have to do. I'm not asking your permission. I'm just letting you know ahead of time so I don't cheat on you. Really? How can you make love to other guys without cheating on me? It's not cheating if you know about it, and it's out in the open. It's only cheating if I try to cover it up and run behind your back. That's not the case here. That's why I tell you about it up front before it happens. Besides, it won't be every night. It will probably only be Friday or Saturday night, and I'll be coming home in the morning. We'll still make love a few nights a week, and I'll be sure to clean up before I get home from dating. You'll never have to worry about sloppy seconds. Oh, I'm pretty sure I'll never have to worry about sloppy seconds because I won't touch you after you go on one of your dates for the first time. Where in the world did this stupidity you're talking about even come from? What in the name of all that is wholly planted this idiotic idea in your head? I was pretty sure I knew where it came from, but I still thought I'd ask. Well, I was talking to Susie about our plan to start a family. Susie! Of course you have! You mean your quadruple-divorced coworker Susie, the same Susie who cheated on all 4 of her ex-husbands? Are you seriously taking marriage advice from her? Well, she said I really need to get everything out of my head before we start a family. That way, I could really relax and be a great mom and faithful wife without regretting anything I may have missed out on. She also suggested that this experience with other guys would help with our own lovemaking by teaching me some new ways to pleasure you. It might open the way to an even better life for us. She came to like it. Well, it was pretty obvious that she was going to go through with it, regardless of what I said. I tried a few more arguments, but was shot down each time. Okay, it's time to bring out the big guns. It's pretty obvious that you're going to go through with this, regardless of what I say. So, when are you planning your first date? I don't actually have a date yet, but Susie and I are planning to go clubbing tomorrow night. Okay, but I warn you, if you try to bring anyone here, it'll end very badly. Oh, I would never disrespect you like that. No, we'll either go to his house, his hotel room, or maybe go back to Susie's. All right, I am in no way giving that permission. And I won't agree to any of this, but it's clear that my opinion has nothing to do with your decision. In that case, I won't touch you while this is going on. Also, keep in mind that this could have drastic consequences for our relationship. You may not belong here when you decide to come back. What do you mean? When I decide to come back? I told you I'm not going anywhere. It's just 1 or 2 nights a week. The rest of the time we'll be together. No, I won't let that happen. If you're adamant about this, you'll go away to do it. I don't care where you go, but you're not going to live here while you date and make love to other guys. Don't be silly. This is my house, too. You can't just kick me out. Yes, I can. Don't you remember that this house actually belongs to my parents? They gave it to me right before we got married. It's my house. Maybe you should move in with Susie. It was cold the rest of the night and all the next day. She tried to get me to sleep in the other bedroom, but I insisted that the bed was as much mine as hers and I was going to sleep there. If she didn't want to sleep in the same bed as me, she could sleep somewhere else. We largely avoided each other the next day as well. Around 8 o'clock, Ida came downstairs in her LBD, stockings, and garter belt. No, I couldn't see the garter belt or the top of the stockings, but I recognized the look. And 4-inch heels. Her hair was styled, she was wearing makeup and night-on-the-town jewelry. The only thing she was holding was a small clutch bag. You didn't forget anything? No. I have my phone, my wallet, and my ID. I think that's all I need. What about suitcases, clothes, makeup, toiletries, etc.? I'm only going out for the night. Why do I need all that stuff? I'll be back before morning. Actually, no. As soon as you walk out the door, I'll change the locks. I told you you wouldn't live here as long as you insisted on this nonsense. Don't be silly. I know you love me enough to let me do this. Well, obviously you don't love me enough not to. If you walk out that door, you won't come back in. Just as she was about to reply, a car horn sounded from the driveway. It's Susie. I have to go, but we'll talk when I get home. What she didn't know was that I had installed some hidden apps on her phone while she was getting ready in the bathroom. Now I could track her location, read her text messages, record her phone conversations. I could even activate her microphone and camera without her knowledge. In fact, I activated her microphone as soon as she left the house. It was recording her conversation with Susie while they were driving. I'll listen to it later. Right now, there was work to be done. First order of business was replacing the door locks with the new ones I'd bought earlier that day. Then getting her car out of the garage, reprogramming the garage door opener, and retrieving the remote control. Third, packed all of her clothes, toiletries, and cosmetics into the boxes I had brought ahead of time. 2 hours later, I loaded all her stuff into the car. Now it was time to listen to her conversation with Susie. God, he's pissed. Well, I warned you about this. He'll be mad for a week or so, but it'll pass. Once he sees how much better making love to you is, he'll start to accept the situation. Guys are like dogs. You can get away with anything if you reward them properly. Proper use of the body will adjust their attitude to what you want. Yeah, I just hope this guy you set me up with doesn't leave me too upset to have the energy to make good love to Rob tomorrow night. Just make sure you get a good soak in the tub tomorrow. That should ease any pain. Now take off your panties and leave them in the car. You won't be needing them today. To take them off, you had to put them on first. You naughty little thing. They both laughed. I guess I should describe Susie. She's a 5'4" dynamo. She has long, fiery red hair down to her ass, emerald green eyes, an angelic face, 38DD breasts, an ass sculpted by about 1,000,000 lunges, a slim waist, and the morals of a street cat. All 4 of her marriages ended in divorce due to her cheating. This was impressive because she was only 26 years old. Seriously, who gets divorced 4 times before turning 30? No, I never pushed it. But it wasn't for lack of opportunity. She made it more than clear that I would be welcome in her bed any time I wanted. I should also mention that this wasn't the first time she'd tried to talk Ida into doing something phenomenally stupid. Usually it tended to be attempts to engage us in some sort of threesome or more with her. So far, I'd managed to avoid that. I listened some more before they arrived at the club. Trying to listen to anything in the club was a hopeless endeavor. There was just too much noise to hear any conversations. Instead, I started doing some online banking, watching her location on the GPS. I withdrew half of the money from the checking account, paid off and canceled our joint credit cards, transferred all of our savings to an offshore account I'd opened a couple years ago, and transferred about 70% of our investments to a separate account, in my name only. I noticed that the GPS unit on Ida's phone was moving, so I opened the microphone on it again. Sure enough, Ida was talking, and I could hear an unfamiliar male voice talking to her. "Oh, my phone's ringing." Rustling. "Hi, Susie. What's up?" "Hey, girl. Did you leave with that guy you were dancing with?" "Yeah. We're going back to your place for a little alone time. I hope you don't mind if we use the spare bedroom for an hour or so." "No problem, babe. I'll probably be there soon with his friend. We'll have fun." "I hope so. I'll need to shower after we're done so I can go home afterward." "That's what I thought. I put some shampoo and body wash in the spare bathroom for you." "Thank you." Chuckles. "I'll see you later." By this time, I had turned on her camera to see if I could get a glimpse of the guy she was with. I only caught a glimpse of him as she was putting her phone down. It didn't make much of an impression on me. All I could tell was that he looked like he was in his early 30s. Black hair that had thinned, and judging by his height when he sat down, he was a little shorter than me. I turned everything off as they were still driving. When I saw that they had arrived at Susie's house, I turned the microphone and camera back on. I kept listening until I heard them start to move away from the phone. This was just no good. I needed her phone in the same room so I could get audio evidence of her deception. Video was unlikely to work. Damn it! What's wrong? It's my husband's call. So, ignore it. I can't. I'll have a short conversation and get rid of it. Hey, sweetie. What's up? Where are you, Ida? I'm at Susie's. We're just gonna relax for a while, and then she's gonna take me home. I'll be back in a couple hours. We just put on a movie. Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure you weren't in a bad situation. I'm fine. Stop worrying. I'll see you in a couple hours. Okay, goodbye. She must have had too much to drink because she didn't even notice that I didn't use any affectionate language or tell her I loved her when I hung up. She also didn't realize that I said goodbye at the end. By some miracle, she took the phone with her into the bedroom. I think it was because she was walking there when she talked to me. Even better, she put it on the nightstand, leaning against the lamp. The camera got a pretty good view of most of the bed. I'm pretty sure I'll never be able to use it in court, but at the time I didn't care too much about that. I watched enough of the video to make sure they were really having sex, then minimized the window and continued recording. Well, if she decided to go out and have sex with other guys, I saw no reason to just sit at home and get blue balls waiting for her to come back. You know the old saying, goose and gander and all that. I'm going to go out and make love too. In fact, I'm going to rub it in her face. She didn't come home, naturally. She had to stay at Susie's. I spent the rest of the weekend doing projects around the house and working on the old truck. I have a 1972 GMC pickup truck that I bought cheap a few years ago. I've been working on it for a while now. I put in an inline 350 engine, replaced the old 3-speed manual transmission with a Borg-Warner Super T10 4-speed manual transmission, a 12-bolt rear differential, leather bucket seats, and matte black paint. All that was left was to finish installing the braided steel lines to connect the engine to the fuel, radiator, and vacuum fittings. The work kept me distracted throughout the week. Also, since I stopped communicating with Ida, I was able to finish the truck and get it ready for the road. I was also at the lawyer's office and started preparing the divorce papers. There was really no way to not give her half of everything. The divorce laws in this state must have been written by hardened feminists. Let's face it, if you are a man, you are screwed in your divorce. Women cheat. The poor, innocent husband who has been faithful and done nothing wrong ends up paying the cheating woman to keep cheating. Not much the guy can do to protect himself. So Friday night came. My truck was cleaned out and ready to go out for the evening. Showered, shaved, lightly perfumed with cologne, I got dressed. I put on a nice new pair of Levi's jeans, a black button-up shirt, and rattlesnake skin cowboy boots. It was time to treat myself, so I went to a nice steakhouse for dinner to start my evening. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the T-bone, baked potato, and vegetables were excellent, as was the salad to start. Now on to the main event. Upon leaving the restaurant, I checked to see where Ida was. Indeed, it looked like she and Susie had gotten to the club about half an hour ago. It was time to put my plan into action. I had every reason to expect that this would finally piss Ida off. I couldn't help but smile as I parked a couple spots away from Ida's car. Apparently, she was the designated driver today. That made my plan a little easier since I wouldn't have to worry about Susie leaving her stranded. Not that I was worried about anything myself. Mostly, I was concerned that it would be a little harder to get Susie to leave with me if she was driving. Having made a plan, as well as a plan B in case Susie's moral issues somehow manifested themselves, I entered the club. They weren't hard to spot. "Susie, I didn't know you'd be here," I said as I approached their table with a glass in my hand. I deliberately waited until Ida got up to dance with some guy. "Rob, what are you doing here?" she asked nervously. "Probably the same thing you are," I replied. "Since Ida moved out, I thought I'd try this club and have a little fun tonight. Speaking of which, would you like to dance?" "I should probably let you know that Ida is here with me. And how is that stopping you from dancing with me? Besides, since she's not here, I can only assume she's either in the bathroom or on the dance floor by herself. Come on, you've never shied away from dancing with me before. Her concerned look turned into a chuckle. Sure, I'd love to dance with you. We were there for 3 fast songs before the slow number came on. I didn't give her a chance to leave. As soon as the music started playing, I pulled her in and pulled her against me. It took about a song and a half before Ida noticed me. I almost fell to the floor from laughing when the surprise on her face changed to fear that I had caught her. She left the dance floor right after the song ended and walked back to their table. Now I could see her looking at me with poorly concealed anger. You poor fool. I haven't even begun to piss you off yet, I thought to myself. Susie clung tightly to me as we slowly danced together. Like I said before, Susie is a real bombshell, so it didn't take me long to stretch out at attention and salute, if you know what I mean. It didn't take her long to realize it either. She looked up at me with a wide smile and started rubbing herself against me some more. When she leaned back a little, I caught a glimpse of her breasts trying to break through the thin dress. I had already figured out and made sure she had left her bra at home. As I turned to face Ida, I slowly moved my hand down and started caressing Susie's ass. No panties either. It looked like my plan was on the right track. When the song ended, I escorted Susie back to their table. She invited me to join them, and of course I agreed. On the way back, we stopped and asked the waitress to refresh our drinks. Being the gentleman that I am, I asked her to put all 3 drinks on my tab. "Robert, what are you doing here?" Ida hissed angrily. "What do you mean? I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm drinking, dancing, and having fun. Is that forbidden?" "Don't try to play innocent. You're here to ruin my evening." She spit. "Quite the opposite, Ida. I had no idea you'd be here, remember? We haven't spoken since you moved in. How would I know where you'd be? I heard about this club from my buddies at work, and since you weren't around, I decided to check the place out and have a fun night of drinking and dancing. Are you saying that's okay for you but not for me? Because I have to say that's pretty hypocritical of you." With that being said, I turned to Susie and started chatting with her. Ida sat there seething with anger while I tried my best to ignore her. She must have decided to make me jealous because she tried her best to dance with as many guys as possible. She also started grinding on them and dancing as flirtatiously as possible. I laughed to myself as I monopolized my time with Susie. Every time I saw another guy make a move to walk up and ask her to dance, I would pull her out onto the dance floor before they even got to the table. Pretty soon, no one else was even trying, since it was obvious we were together. After a couple hours, I decided it was time. Ida was on the dance floor, and Susie was well prepared and gracious. "At your place with me?" I whispered, breathing in her ear. "Ida would be there soon. Does it really matter?" I assume she has her own room. I kissed the spot where her neck meets her shoulder. "To hell with it," she said. "She's driving. She can get home on her own. Let's go." I held her in suspense as I drove her to her place, caressing her thigh and occasionally stroking her body. Her dress was off over her head and fell to the floor as soon as the door closed. Grabbing my hand, she practically dragged me into her bedroom. We made love all night. Breakfast was awkward, to say the least. Apparently, we woke Ida up with our morning fiddling. When we came out, she was already in the kitchen. "Coffee?" Ida asked when I entered the kitchen. "It's all right. I'll make it myself." I noticed the slight smirk on her face when she asked. I got a clean cup out of the cupboard and stood next to Keurig while he filled the cup. There was no telling what would be in the coffee she made for me. There was hardly any conversation between us after that. She and Susie talked for a while, and I talked to Susie. Apparently, at the club, Ida eventually noticed that the 2 of us were missing and put 2 and 2 together. I think she expected me to take Susie to my house and was furious when she saw my truck in the parking lot at the house. She ranted so much that the guy she brought home for the night jumped back in his car and drove off. Ida looked wolfishly at me during breakfast. Shortly after that, I drove away. I can be a real asshole when I'm motivated. I was really motivated. Ida worked with some very attractive single women. I met them several times at her company events and parties we threw. Of course, I had their contact information. I started contacting them. Over the next few weeks, I convinced most of them to go on a date with me. Some of them were a little concerned because Ida and I were still married, but as Ida talked about her adventures at work and I assured them that we had broken up, they softened. I began to hear that there was tension between Ida and Susie because of my little interge. Soon, there was also tension between Ida and most of the other single women in the office. So, yeah. I started going out with Ida's girlfriends and coworkers. I had drinks and dinners with them. I asked them to dances. I took them to shows. Every chance I got, I made sure to show up where Ida was. That GPS tracking app and the voice and video app on her phone became a goldmine. I also heard that most of her coworkers that I dated marveled at their dates with me. She was still going out and bringing guys with her. She and Susie became more conflicted. Yeah, I was having a great time. I went out, ate dinner, danced, and made love. I was also having fun listening to Ida's rants. That's not how it's supposed to work. What do you mean? Susie said. He was supposed to wait for me to sow my last wild oats and then greet me so we could start our family. He wasn't supposed to meet and make love to other women. Susie was puzzled, too. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. So what are you going to do? Well, now I've had my fun, and none of the other guys have been able to sway me the way Rob has. Besides, our anniversary is coming up, and we have a plan to start working on having a baby the night of our anniversary. Yeah, he sure knows how to put a girl in orbit. Susie knew what she was talking about. And why the hell did you bring him here and make love to my husband all night and the next morning, you cheater? Hey, chill out, stupid. You know I've been lusting after him for years. What was I supposed to do when he jumped me like that? He went full speed ahead and pushed all my buttons. I couldn't help myself. But he's my husband. You could show some respect for your best friend. Okay. Sighs. I'm sorry. Look, he didn't even call me anymore. I doubt we'll ever see each other again. Besides, I'm not the one you should be mad at. He checked out all of our single co-workers. God, I can't believe these cheating women are setting me up like this. It's time to get back what's mine. So you're going back to him now? Yes. I'll call him later and tell him I'm ready to come back and start our family. I smiled as I listened to this conversation. She had no idea what was going to happen next. It was time to proceed with the final part of the plan. I called my attorney and gave her final instructions. Our anniversary was just over a week away, and I needed to prepare for an unforgettable celebration. Ida called later that afternoon. She wanted to come home right away, but I refused. I told her that I had other plans that I had made because I didn't know what her plans were. I also told her that I had some work to do around the house, and I wanted to surprise her when she got home. I didn't want her to see it until it was done. It would be part of her wedding anniversary present to her. I may have given a hint or two that she may have mistakenly assumed that one of the bedrooms had been turned into a nursery for a newborn. I never actually said that. Eventually, I convinced her that she could come over on our anniversary to get her surprise. Gosh, would she really be surprised? All the arrangements were made and everything was finalized. It was Saturday night and the anniversary party I had planned was in full swing. I had a barbecue and a pool party to celebrate. Ida didn't realize that I had installed the pool in the last 2 months. That was just the beginning of the surprise. All of our friends and family were there, along with a couple other guests. It was about 6 p.m. when the doorbell rang. Just in time. It was at this exact time that I told Ida to come over. Apparently, she had seen a lot of cars in front of the house, so she already realized we were having a party. She was surprised as she carried her suitcases into the house. "It's all right. The guest of honor has arrived," I announced. "Rob, what's going on?" "I kind of thought we were going to go out and have a quiet, romantic dinner tonight," she said. "Oh, no. It's a big holiday tonight, and I want all our family and friends to be here to celebrate with us." "Oh, okay, honey. It just surprises me a little bit. I wasn't expecting anything like this." "Well, Just put your suitcases over here. We'll take care of them later. You'll be here in time for dinner. Being the guest of honor, you and I will be first in line." Ida quickly got up to speed and began to enjoy herself. There was no talk of the activities of the past 2 months. We ate, drank, and laughed. Dinner was finished and put away. The lights were on in the backyard. Ida was very surprised by the pool and a few other changes to the house. I hadn't shown her the upstairs yet. She was hinting that she wanted to see what I had done because she still thought I had turned one of the bedrooms into a nursery. Finally, it was time to reveal the rest of the surprises. "That's it. Can I have your attention, please? I have a few announcements to make on this special day." I yelled for everyone to quiet down and listen. The stereo was off, and everyone quieted down and moved closer to hear. "Okay. Thank you all for coming today. Now I have a couple of announcements to make. Ida, could you come this way with me, please?" After she stood next to me, I continued. "First, I want everyone to know that yesterday was my last day of work. The only person who knows about it is my former boss. He was very friendly about it since I gave him a month's notice and explained what my plans were. I am now announcing that I will be starting my own consulting company. This will allow me more freedom to spend time with my family." Ida practically glowed when I emphasized the last word. As you all know, today is Ida and I's 5th anniversary. What most of you don't know is that we plan to starting our family on this day. Having said that, I want to give Ida a special anniversary gift to signify our relationship. With those words, I discreetly took a couple steps to the side and nodded to the red-haired woman at the back of the group. She nodded back and moved forward. "Idella Bader, you have been served," said the woman. "Something most of you don't know," I continued. 2 months ago, Ida told me she was going to date and sleep with other men. She didn't ask me if I was okay with it. She left me no choice. She simply told me that she was going to do it and that there was nothing I could do about it. For the past 2 months, she has been living with her friend and taking different men to her house to have sex with them. This is something I simply will not put up with. Frankly, I've also dated other women, but I started that after Ida had already broken her wedding vows. "No!" Ida screamed. "For your actions, I'm giving you a divorce, so you can go and sleep with whoever you want. Rest assured, it won't be me." So, I told Ida I was doing some remodeling on the house, so I did. You all saw the pool I added and a few other things downstairs. I also repainted the master bedroom and installed a new, larger shower, as well as a jacuzzi tub in the master bath. I also tore out the wall between the 2 smaller spare bedrooms to expand them into one large bedroom with its own bathroom. I did this for a very specific reason. As I was saying this, the same red-haired woman and 10-year-old red-haired girl were heading towards me. "I want you all to meet my attorney, Tara O'Reilly, and her daughter, Simone. Tara is also a single mom. I met Tara 2 months ago, the Monday after Ida went clubbing and brought her first boyfriend to her house. Since then, we've gotten really close. Although we haven't officially started dating yet, we both feel like we have something between us. Simone and I also get along very well. Once the divorce is final and she is no longer working as my attorney, we plan to be together. Her lease will be up soon, and Tara and Simone will move in with me." I turned to Ida again. "So, Ida, as for what to do with your suitcases, you can take them back to your car. You're not coming back here. I told you I wouldn't stand for it, but you just rushed ahead and ruined our marriage. Bedlam!" Ida sobbed uncontrollably. Her family screamed and yelled. Most of her friends quickly withdrew. My family sat stunned. Tara and Simone quietly went upstairs and out of sight. They were prepared for this reaction and agreed when I asked them if they would be okay with it. Frankly, Tara and I hadn't even kissed. True, we went out to dinner and I spent a few evenings with her and Simone at their apartment. But we agreed to put everything else on hold until my divorce was final. She divorced her husband 5 years ago because she caught him cheating. She went out a few times after that, but never felt a spark. Eventually, everyone finally left. I don't know where Ida went. That same day, I deleted all the spy apps I had on her. I was no longer interested in what she was doing. Would it have been better to handle it differently? Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't have dragged Tara and especially Simone into all this. Again, probably. Why did I do that? The simple answer is anger. I was angry at what Ida had done. I also wanted to make sure everyone knew that Ida had ruined our marriage with her selfishness. I wanted to publicly make Ida feel the pain she had caused me. She had killed my love for her and made me hate her. I wanted her to feel the loss of love and the hatred she caused. Yes, I could have just served her at work while she lived with Susie. I could have just sent everyone a package with my proofs. I could have done a lot of things that would have been much more mature and much less painful for everyone. In the end, I did what I did. Ida went back to Susie's house. It lasted about 2 weeks before they were at each other's throats. Eventually, she got her own little apartment. I see her around town a lot. The expression on her face when she sees me alternates between sadness and anger. I think it depends on her mood. We don't exchange pleasantries. I did hear from one of her co-workers that she left the company and found a new job. The stress of seeing me with many other women she had to work with became too much for her. I also see her family occasionally when Tara, Simone, and I have dinner. Again, we don't talk, but they frown at us. We just ignore it. Speaking of Tara and Simone. Ida tried to fight the divorce but soon realized it was a hopeless cause. Wanting it to be over soon, Tara allowed me to increase the pressure on Ida by continuing to get to know Ida's co-workers. Ida signed the papers after she heard a glowing report about our night together with her co-worker the morning of my 4th date at work. The day the papers officially dissolving my marriage arrived, Tara and Simone moved in with me. A year later, Tara and I were married. She let me open her back door on our wedding night. After that, she informed me that I would have the key at all times and could open it any time I wanted. Another year later, we met Ida as Tara. Simone and I were wandering through a street fair. Ida turned and ran away, sobbing when she saw Tara's belly, 6 months pregnant. The end!